Disneyland's Haunted Mansion is a beloved attraction dating back to 1969, featuring artwork, effects, and decor, all of which was lovingly handcrafted by Disney's famous Imagineers. Well, the modern Walt Disney Company, in their infinite wisdom, decided to undo all of that legacy and heritage by adding an unsightly, out-of-place gift shop just beside the Haunted Mansion that features store-bought decorations and AI artwork. And you won't believe the origins of the structure it's all housed in. Let's talk about this disquieting metamorphosis here on That Park Place.
The Disney Company put up a new building in historic Disneyland. There's an attraction, a little attraction known as the Haunted Mansion, and it has a problem, that Haunted Mansion, in that you don't exit through a gift shop. So Disney decided they were going to bring the gift shop to you if you exit the Haunted Mansion, and they put a building right there. It was actually really surprising how quickly they put up this Haunted Mansion carriage house. Now they say carriage house. It's not quite a carriage house. It's more like there's a better way to describe it. Maybe
building.
Storage building. It's a house where you might put a bunch of people as opposed to a carriage there. It's in that style. As opposed to one where you would put horses, livestock. So presumably the carriage that is part of the lore of the Haunted Mansion, that hearse that sits outside the Haunted Mansion. There's a lot of things that are not quite right in that. Vash, you've talked about the placement of this carriage house, and we've talked about how the forced perspective is not there. We're now starting to get some answers as to why it doesn't have that forced perspective. But Vash, do you want to talk about some of the apparent problems from the outside of that Haunted Mansion carriage house?
Yes, the problems of the outside are numerous, as you can see right here. Attractions 360 giving you a nice, 360-degree view almost of this Haunted Mansion gift shop, which has just recently opened, but we want to go ahead and travel around the outside for a moment right here. You can see Haunted Mansion on your left, and then Channels by Adventure on your right, and this big old building in between right there, really diminishing the forced perspective of both of these attractions. Interestingly enough, it's big, it's broad, and it's very plain Jane, as you can see. Now, they have recently spruced it up just a little bit, which we'll go over as well, but just kind of want to show you just the incredible scale of this thing and just how out of place it actually looks within this, what I would say, very holistic themed area of this particular theme park right here. A lot of care and attention to detail was placed with all of the structures and various things that you actually see along this river's edge right here. Now, they have spruced it up just a little bit, like I was saying right here. This provided actually by Barry Place 28. That's Bob over there. He was able to take some video of some of the exterior dressings that they've put on, and it does make it look slightly nicer. I will say very bright as well. It's a little bit too bright for this area, but that's neither here nor there. You can see it dresses it up just a scotch, but the reason why it might look so plain and out of place, especially when compared to the surrounding area of New Orleans Square and now Bayou Country, is that right? Oh boy. Well, I think Jonas, you have a little bit more information on that.
Yes. Well, we let's talk about the interiors here for just a moment. There's artwork throughout this building, and Vash, I think we could save yours for the last because yours is the best part of it. They've got artwork decorating this Haunted Mansion store, and as you can see, there's they put a little bit of paint up here. They probably got one of the people from Trading Spaces or Flip or Flop in order to the Flip or Flop people actually do improvements to the houses, so I'm not going to put that on them. So this artwork up here obviously meant to evoke the image of the bride. It's not the only bride image that they have in here, but it appears that this is from Redbubble, which is also possibly an AI print. So the artwork does appear to be generated by artificial intelligence. The most obvious detail indicating it wasn't created by a human is the odd staircase or staircases. The stairs appear split in two with weirdly placed railings. The candelabras on the walls and the tiles on the ceiling are not uniform. At first glance, the strange shape of the stairs to the left could be a cat, but it's unidentifiable upon closer inspection. Here's another item here. By the way, this is an article from Disneyland News Today. Here's a bust that they've put on here. And that bust appears to be something that was taken from Amazon. You yourself can have a piece of Disney memorabilia if you just go over there to Amazon and buy one off the shelf. Oh, wait, if you're an Imagineer and you are looking to buy a random thing that could be the bride from the Haunted Mansion, well, why not just buy this for $65? The Toscano Veiled Maiden Indoor Bust Statue, 9 inches wide, 14 inches tall, hand cast, poly resin, antiqued white finish with a black painted base. Well, it's not very based. It's as cheap as possible.
Now, if that's not cheap enough for you, you can always get the Tamu version as well. So there's a quite a wide variety of things, places where you can get something like this. Go ahead, Filter.
I seem to remember this being done when they were remaking the Critter Country shopping area by the Flume Ride. Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they did actually. They did buy off the shelf a product, let's say, to replace the beautiful hand sculpted Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, and Brer Bear interpretations that you actually saw on the wall there. It was most distressing.
Look at the candlesticks, right? I mean, everything about the authentic area.
Yeah.
It's so infuriating.
It is. Now, this shop has been reimagined completely, like, in and out. And so it looks a lot better than how it looked with this kind of store-bought art. But now this, with the bust right here and the AI art that they've now hung up, that's all permanent. So this is going to be staying with us for, well, quite some time, unfortunately. At least it would seem.
I'm trying to figure out how much filament it would cost me to create that bust in my 3D printer.
Yeah. Then now there is one other thing that we want to throw in here. And this is the reason that things like this happen is because the Haunted Mansion is one of the most prolific sellers of merchandise. In fact, to the point where when they decided to turn one of Walt's favorite properties into a bar so that they can sell high-end booze, they use the Haunted Mansion first. They're trying to sell tiki mugs. They're trying to sell death certificates. There's no death certificates remaining, by the way, over there at the Haunted Mansion parlor. There is one more item, and we're starting to figure out why it is that they didn't incorporate forced perspective into that carriage house. And Vash, could you let them know why it is that Disney went this specific route and this specific framing for this building?
Yes, it would appear that Disney, usually how it works is you get the Imagineers, they design something, and then you have fabricators or they subcontract out the project so that it can actually be constructed. In this case, though, apparently there is some evidence to suggest that this might have been a prefabricated house kit, actually, that they went with. You can see actually the similarities to this structure here. And I believe we have a post from somebody who actually lines it up pretty well. Let me see if I can actually find it. Yes, here we go. The Mountain King here actually has a good comparison shot between these two structures, and they are almost exactly identical. You can actually see some of the beams are a little bit different that actually shoot out across this, and there's a lack of a structure on top there, but you can see it's very, very close, very, very similar. And this would explain why there's a lack of forced perspective and why it doesn't necessarily feel very cohesive with the area, and how it might have actually gone up as quickly as it did. This was noted by several people who have been watching Disney projects for a long time, especially at Disneyland, and they were noting it. Wow, this actually went up really fast. Well, now we might actually have our answer according to the story. Not the first time, obviously, that Disney has gone with off-the-shelf stuff, as we've relayed here quite eloquently. But this is the first time that I've ever seen that they went with maybe a prefabbed unit for an entire structure, especially one that's butting up against something so iconic as the Haunted Mansion.
Right. And I'll say it's possible that this is a complete coincidence on their part, that they just happen to build something that is very, very similar to a prefab unit that is already on the market. But it really, in my opinion, says something about Disney when they're throwing things together and putting them into the park. What is it? The old Indian trading post that is now, was the Briar Patch and now is Raised Berets, because they would rather go for a rhyme than something that makes sense. This is the kind of thing where this will never be taken out because it makes money, and taking it out will require them to say, well, we're going to have to do without this revenue stream here for a little while, because we've talked about this on the channel several times on the WDW Pro channel. They now kind of view it in the same way that you would view a shopping mall. The square footage has to have a specific revenue center attached to it, which is another reason that they're whether or not they've stated this. There's someone within the company that is saying this. The Imagineers might disagree a little bit and say, no, that's not what's going on. There's an accountant in that park that goes by square foot and says, where do we make our money? And these rides, these attractions, they don't have a specific ROI attached to them unless they are generating Lightning Lane, multipass, whatever you want to say. There is some dollar amount attached to the ride, and if it doesn't have a specific gift shop attached to it, then they're essentially useless to the company. They're just there generating the cost of maintenance, which we are now seeing that Disney really is not interested in maintaining their rides in the way that they used to. Culture, I know that you are struggling a little bit today. Do you have any comments on this?
I'm not surprised. Off the shelf stuff, generic stuff is the direction Disney's been headed for a while. We talked about it on Tuesday about their hotel design with the Polynesian and everything else. And honestly, I mean, who wants to stay in a Ramada Inn, at a Disney thing? You want to stay in something nice. But that absolutely translates. And the fact that it is being managed like a retail space where it has to generate X amount of dollars per square footage. Again, this comes down to the bean counters that never should have been inside of Disney. And I mean, I keep wanting to harken back to Pressler, but there's really is a reason to harken back to Pressler, because you're looking at it, as a retail person, and that's all they're doing right now. Disney is no matter what park you're in, it's purposely laid out to generate more and more revenue, and that's the whole reason why you have year-round festivals and Epcot. It's the reason that they've crowded the walkways up around World Showcase with now permanent buildings for those festivals. And they're not anything special at all to look at. So they in regards to show, they've abandoned. The deferred maintenance is evident everywhere, and it does remind me of a junked up 90s mall. And I don't know that it's going to get any better until they get somebody in there that's more visionary than they are driven by insane revenue goals that are non-sustainable. Because this is all driven by the fact that they have to get their revenues out of the parks because they're not getting it out of anywhere else.
Yeah. This to me says that the Disney company does not know where its priorities are. I would rather that they spend a little money on the parks rather than the things that we're now discovering that they spend money on. I don't know why it isn't the parks, but here we are.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.